You've just met some wonderfully generous people who give away most of their money. Watching them makes me wish more of life were like that more of it were about caring for people rather than greedily pursuing money. That would make life better, wouldn't it?
Take the crucial job of lifeguarding. If my child's in the pool, I don't want some greedy, profit-driven company overseeing lifeguards. I'm relieved that most are trained by the Red Cross. They're non-profit, so they're selfless. That's a good thing when someone's drowning.
Victim does not appear to be conscious. Victim is not breathing.
Call 911 and come back.
It takes a well-prepared lifeguard to deal with this.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2
And to hold off a panic-stricken father.
Why are you pushing me? Why are you doing that? That's my son.
This drowning isn't real. It's a surprise drill done to test these lifeguards in Orlando.
Nice job. Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, sir, so you've been working...
That hysterical parent is really Jeff Ellis, the man who staged the drill. And he doesn't work for the Red Cross. The Red Cross doesn't require on-the-job testing. Ellis is an entrepreneur. He trains lifeguards because he wants to make money.
We're constantly criticized for being a profit company versus a non-profit agency. And I think by all measure, the profit company delivers a better service at a cheaper price.
To win business, Ellis has had to constantly innovate.
You went over the victim and sunk him. No good.
He invented the rear huggy rescue, which places the weight of the victim on the rescue tube instead of on the lifeguard. He was the first to require the compact jump. He makes guards carry a plastic mouthpiece to help with mouth-to-mouth. The Red Cross has since adopted many of Ellis's techniques.
Why didn't they think of doing what you do?
I think they've been very complacent.
Complacent. It may be one reason that hundreds of pools have now switched from Red Cross guards to Ellis. They like the training and the follow-up. Profit is going to make people do it better? Isn't saving lives enough to keep the Red Cross vigilant?
There's always an extra mile to go in creativity, in thinking of that solution no one has yet tried.
Thinking harder, longer.
Working harder and longer.
For money.
For money and for having your company flourish and succeed.
To make money, Ellis has to win over more pools. He does that, he says, through diligent oversight that includes secretly taping his lifeguards to make sure they follow his rules.
Isn't there something creepy about this, spying on people?
We don't consider it spying. They were given forewarning that in order to be in this lifeguard program, they were going to be held accountable.
Accountable means his guards must constantly scan the water with their rescue tubes always in hand. His camera caught this guard being friendly, talking to a girl, getting off the chair to sit next to her. He still looks at the swimmers, but Ellis yanked his license.
You never know when he's there.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
could be in a van 400 feet away from the pool. And be
These lifeguards claim they don't mind Ellis's spying.
I'm glad he's doing it because with the Red Cross, we never had anybody really come up and check up on us.
His lifeguards are vigilant like Baywatch. Even whistle twirling is banned. This Florida pool switched from Red Cross guards because pool manager Marie Sheba liked Ellis's scrutiny of his lifeguards.
I think it really makes a difference to them. They want to do well.
Economist Walter Williams.
Normally in our country, those areas where people are motivated the most by greed are the areas that we're the most satisfied with. Supermarkets, computers, FedEx. Those areas where people say we're motivated by caring are the areas of disaster in our country, such as education, the post office, city garbage collection, police services.
Or the Department of Motor Vehicles. That would be my addition to his list. It's funny that all these agencies that are designed to help people often help us less than these businesses, Dr. Williams said, are driven by greed. I'd call it enlightened self-interest. But self-interest does a lot of good things for people. Even teaching kids about it can change their lives for the better.
This school was once considered New York City's worst, lowest reading scores in the state. Kids assaulted teachers more than once a week. One teacher's hair was set on fire. It was around then that Steve Mariotti left his import-export business to teach here.
What's 40 plus 20?
At first, he says, he was a horrible teacher.
I lost control of my classes. A kid got me in a headlock, rubbing my head.
In desperation, he asked the kids, "Why are you doing this to me?"
One kid said, "We did it because we just can't stand you. You are boring." And I said, "Well, was there ever a time when I was a good teacher, when I touched you or taught you something that had any value?" And the same young man said, that the only time you really had value to me was when you told us about your import-export business and how you bring in ladies' shoes at $5 from Agra, India, add $1 on for insurance and freight, take it down to the Lower East Side and sell them for $7, and your income statement would be $126,000.
Oh, he'd remembered all this from the beginning of the term?
He remembered. And here was a guy that had been defined as brain damaged, emotionally upset, people were afraid of him, and he'd recreated, in total, a Harvard Business School income statement. Does anybody have any ideas for a small business that you could start right now as a kid?
Mariotti changed his way of teaching.
And you can trade with anybody in the room. Now,
he started talking about making money, and suddenly the kids were different.
When you hear people complaining, that's where the big money is. They're suddenly interested in learning, and they come to life in the classroom.
His teaching changed lives.
You found my Dyche jersey?
In high school, Frank Alameda was floundering until he took Mariotti's course. He graduated and went on to open a sporting goods manufacturing company. Now he employs people from his old neighborhood.
I'm probably the biggest thing that happened to my family because I got people looking up to me, people that I grew up with, just will pat me on my back, will say, "Frank, keep it up. You're the only guy that got something going for you out here."
Will there be better days?
Jimmy McNeil started a music business that was worth $1 million.
And we got to Southern Newport.
Now he runs Bulldog Bicycles, a high-performance bike company.
How's the back end on that? It's good?
Here he is on the cover of Black Enterprise magazine.
It still gets down to machining costs.
He says he owes all this to what Steve Mariotti taught him in high school.
Okay.
Children that are born into poverty have very unique abilities in business and entrepreneurship. They've got chutzpah, they're street smart, they're comfortable with risk and ambiguity. They have many of the natural characteristics of the great business people.
We think of capitalism as something the privileged practice, but in some ways, capitalism is the big equalizer. Money doesn't care if you're black or white or green.
It's the people at the bottom who need capitalism most, who need the system in which everyone is free to trade and free to pursue money, because capitalism opens up opportunities to climb up that economic ladder.
Somewhere along the lines, Bill Gates started off with 0. Somewhere along the lines, Quincy Jones started off with 0.
My rule for kids...
It's not a color thing. You know, it's an opportunity thing.